Hey, this is Rick from Left Coast Overland, and right now we got coals started on the fire. We're gonna be making some salsa, and then a little bit later, I'll show you how to make Mexican corn.
Otherwise, I think we're set.
I think we have arrived. Pulled up onto this flat off of the main road. Found ourselves a really nice little campsite that's already kind of been established. There's a ring there. Nice and flat, up on a bluff. Really beautiful views. I'm going to teach you how to make salsa in the field with tomatoes, jalapenos, whole cumin, some salt, and in a Dutch oven. Whole cumin tastes better than ground cumin, and it is the secret to this recipe. So that's more than we need, but unfortunately I forgot my cutting board, and that's usually how I make ground cumin with this rock here. As you can see, there's some remnants of it. Picked this up while I was in Arizona earlier this summer. I'm going to make a makeshift mortar and pestle here inside of my insulated vacuum cooler tube, and we'll see how well that works. It's got a great consistency now, almost a fine powder. I've ground way too much than what I actually need. It's probably only a teaspoon and a half, maybe two, but you just kind of go by taste on these. This is an ideal recipe if you have bruised or kind of at the last edge of their lifespan tomatoes. I pulled a couple of them off of the vines. These ones were in a box at my helibase before I left for this trip. The peppers are just purchased at the grocery, but since they get boiled and then mashed, it really doesn't matter about the tomatoes being a little bit on the soft side. So a great opportunity to use tomatoes that might otherwise not get used. I learned how to make this salsa while I was working in Southwest Texas. I was working at the Big Bend National Park, and I had the privilege to work alongside the Los Diablos Bomberos, which are Mexican nationals from across the river. They are all documented and legal employees of the U.S. government, and they help with fire season down there, which is usually early spring. Okay, what I've done is taken the tops off of those Serrano peppers. You can use Serranos or jalapenos, doesn't matter. You just want to cook them down so that they're soft so you can mash them at the end. And then I put in 3 tomatoes. Depends on how spicy you like it. I've got a whole bunch of peppers in there because the last few batches I made have just been a little bit on the weak side. So I was going to up the pepper game just slightly to see if that makes it any better. But that's all up to you. Usually a ratio of 3 tomatoes to 2 jalapenos is sufficient enough to get a little bit of spice. 3 and 3 should be good for a pretty medium salsa. So I've got 2 big tomatoes, 2 small ones, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those serranos, which are usually a lot less spicy than jalapenos. So we'll let that cook down, and I'll show you what it looks like in a little bit. Got a really good boil going to it. It smells terrific. It smells like a Mexican food restaurant out here. It's gonna be good. I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are too. The consistency of the tomatoes is just about right. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer. These serranos are just on the verge of being done. Give it a few more minutes. The beauty of this is you can't overcook it. I mean, it's just gonna get mashed anyways. The secret is to not get too much of the water mixed in with it. I won't be mashing it in this vessel. I'll transfer it once it cools off a little bit, and then we'll mash it and put it on ice and then enjoy it in a little bit. Try and let the water drip out as much as possible. Transfer the tomatoes and the peppers. There's going to be a little bit of water transfer. It happens. It's a wet dish, so don't stress about it. I was able to drain off the excess water. Seems pretty dry in there. So you remember the makeshift mortar and pestle? Well, it also works as a masher. Good to have tools out here that have multiple uses. Now I know what you're thinking. There's no way that I produced salsa without a food processor in the field, right? Well, wrong. That's how it was made the first time I saw it being made, with a tin cup in a bowl after they boiled it. So the trick is to boil the peppers and the tomatoes down so that they're soft enough to just mash with a cup. And then you add your salt and your spices. Spices being the cumin. We'll try that for starts. Mix it up a little bit, throw some salt in, see how it tastes. Just enough salt to taste. Chips usually have salt on them. It's not a whole lot. Give it a mix with the spoon. Let's try it. Oh, that is so good. It is ridiculous how easy and simple this recipe is, but it's how yummy and delicious this salsa can be. So, impress your friends, make some salsa in a Dutch oven, which I'm sure they're gonna shake their heads at. Try it at home first in a pot, blend it up in a Cuisinart food processor, make it real easy on yourself. But next time you're on a camping trip and you've got a Dutch oven, a little bit of water, tomatoes, peppers, grind up some cumin, bring a salt grinder, and you'll have yourself some pretty excellent salsa. So I'm gonna let this cool off. I'm gonna let that fire cook down. Next up, Mexican corn. Cue the Nacho Libre.
Surprise.
You know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, we'll see you in a little bit. Corn. There you have it, my friends. Presentation isn't everything. It's all about the flavor. And your friends are gonna be so excited about you cooking them a delicious Mexican-themed feast in the backcountry. If you like what you saw, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what it is that you'd like me to do more of, and I'd be happy to accommodate. I really like being out in the woods here, and I love cooking, so please do follow up because there's going to be a lot more.